You're an astronaut traveling through space, and suddenly your eyes come across something that you didn't expect. It sends a shiver down your spine and makes you contemplate all your life decisions. This feeling has been experienced by a number of NASA astronauts, and it has left them terrified. Today we're going to take a look at the creepiest things that NASA astronauts have spoken about in space. In 2005, astronaut Leroy Chiao was a commander of the International Space Station. While carrying out a spacewalk with his colleague Salizan Sharipov, the two were tasked with installing navigation antennas. While traveling at more than 17,000 miles per hour, Chiao noticed something quite unusual. His gaze was fixed on the cosmos, and what he witnessed was nothing short of frightful. He relayed his message back to the ISS, saying that he saw some lights that seemed to be in a line, and it was like an upside-down check mark. But where was Sharipov during all of this? Well, he missed this entirely because he was facing the opposite direction. He was unaware of something like this happening before Chiao informed him, which brings us to ask the burning question: what did Chiao witness? The following incident is present on NASA's website, which recaptures the essence of Chiao's experience. Conspiracy theorists had their say on the mystery by calling these lights reflections flashing from a fishing boat that was more than 200 miles away from Chiao. Was it an explanation that was worth believing? We can't say for sure. When you hear UFO, what comes to mind? Perhaps a classic disc-shaped object hovering in the night sky. But for astronauts Ed White and James McDivitt during the Gemini 4 space mission, the reality was far stranger. It was their second day in space when McDivitt spotted something strange outside the spacecraft. With Ed White asleep, McDivitt watched in awe as an unidentified object rotated in the distance. Seizing the moment, he immediately grabbed his camera and snapped a few pictures. What he captured was unlike anything they had ever seen. McDivitt described this object as having a white cylindrical shape with a white pole sticking out of one corner of it. Yet their excitement quickly turned to frustration as the hastily taken photographs turned out blurry and poorly exposed. McDivitt blamed the glaring sunlight for obstructing his view, leaving them questioning what they had witnessed as the mysterious object vanished into the void. Retired astronaut Scott Kelly brings forth a tale that defies the limits of our understanding. Kelly's voice carries the weight of experience as he recounts a moment suspended in time, high above the Virginia Beach military operating area. He said that one time he was flying in this area, and his co-officer said that they were convinced that a UFO flew by them. Kelly said he didn't manage to see it at first. This made him even more skeptical about the situation. The tension was higher than ever, but they decided to turn around and take a look at it. Much to Kelly and his co-officer's surprise, it was a balloon that was in the shape of Bart Simpson. This goes to show that someone like Kelly, who spent the longest consecutive time in space of 340 days, can also be startled by things that might seem alien to us. Kelly then explained that the reason they concluded it to be a UFO is because optical lensing was playing a part in this incident. Optical lensing creates optical illusions and makes something seem entirely different. Thankfully, it wasn't a UFO after all. On his first flight to space in 2003, China's Yang Liwei recalled how he felt he wasn't alone in space. In a chilling account, an interview given by Liwei unveiled the mystery he came across in space. Picture this: the vast surrounding of space stretching out endlessly around him, the only company being the hum of the spacecraft. Suddenly, a sharp, metallic knocking was heard through the silence, sounding like a wooden hammer striking an iron bucket. Here's where it gets even spookier. It seemed to come from neither the outside nor the inside. What or who could have been knocking on the spacecraft, miles away from the safety of Earth? He searched for any sign that could have caused such a disturbance, yet nothing meets the eye. Upon his return to Earth, despite countless attempts to recreate the sound, Liwei remained baffled. He was unable to work around the mystery that haunted him. Professor Go Che-hyang, a space engineering expert, gave his opinion about this incident too. In space, where sound has no medium to travel through, all we get is silence. Was it something strange from space? Something we don't understand yet? Or maybe just something ordinary, but still scary? People are theorizing to this day, but we don't have clear answers. and neither did Liwei. Having already discussed how sound is unable to travel in space because it needs a medium, this case of space music makes things even creepier. During the Apollo 10 mission, which orbited Earth, the equipment testing that was being carried out was hindered by something quite unusual. The stakes were high, as their findings would affect the fate of the next mission. While orbiting the moon, astronauts Stafford, Young, and Cernan heard eerie music for nearly an hour, which unsettled them greatly. Cernan described it as otherworldly. They debated whether to report it to NASA. Later, astronaut Michael Collins, part of Apollo 11, admitted to hearing similar music on the moon. A NASA engineer suggested it was radio interference, but Al Worden from Apollo 15 disagreed with this explanation. Only a very few people managed to walk on the moon before Alan L. Bean of the Apollo 12 mission. However, his journey wasn't all enjoyable. The moon was enormous and quiet, but Bean said he could see something shiny and unidentifiable in the distance. It appeared to be a leather shoe. Perplexed by what they saw, Bean and his buddies attempted to identify it, but after much thought, they were unable to come to a conclusion. Bean passed away 6 years ago, so this mystery will quite possibly remain unsolved until the end of time. Gordon Cooper is one of the most important personalities as far as space exploration is concerned. It's as if he was destined for this. Beyond his incredible achievements, his journey towards the unknown isn't a coincidence. Imagine this scenario in your head: a young Gordon Cooper looking up into the sky and contemplating the universe. Suddenly, he finds himself face to face with a fleet of otherworldly objects. It's a special moment in his life that would take his love of space and the cosmos to the next level. The mystery didn't end there. A decade later, in 1963, history repeated itself as Cooper once again encountered a similar enigmatic craft, this time with radar confirmation to validate his sighting. It's a tale that leaves us wondering about the cosmic forces at play. Relating to this incident, Cooper stated that he'd been struggling to put his finger on this. Whatever it is, Cooper definitely says it exists, because it made him wonder what could be out there in space. When the Soviet Union attempted a 12-minute spacewalk, marking the first ever extravehicular space activity, a lot of things did not go according to plan. On March 18, 1965, Alexei Leonov, the astronaut performing this walk, realized that his expanding spacesuit was too stiff. Due to this, he could not go back inside the Voskhod 2 spacecraft, where his crewmate Pavel Belyayev was waiting for him. Leonov subsequently reported that he definitely felt the volume of his spacesuit change. After 8 minutes of free floating, he said that his fingers were no longer feeling the tip of his gloves, and his feet were floating on his boots. But what concerned him most was that he was unable to reach the shutter release on his camera. Leonov silently let the air out of his spacesuit to safely re-enter, without alerting ground control. It wasn't the best of space experiences, but gladly, Leonov managed to make it back to his spacecraft safely. We hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more exciting videos like this.